Hey guys, welcome to Oregon Bass Fishing. I have a brand new Wilderness Systems ATAK 120 in the back of my truck. Just left Next Adventure running down to the river for this first look at the ATAK 120. Today we're looking at the Wilderness Systems ATAK 120. This is the new version of the ATAK series. Most of us are familiar with the previous version, the ATAK 140, the 14-foot long version. This is a 12-foot version of the same style boat. So what we're going to do actually to begin this is I'm going to show you the 140 if you're unfamiliar, and then we're going to kind of compare the two next to each other. That way you can see what's kind of different about the two, and then I'll go on the water and show you some stand-up tests and stability tests, stopping tests, stuff like that. So here we go. Here is the ATAK 140. So the length on the 140 is 14 foot 1 inch. The weight is 95 pounds for the full boat. The max capacity is 550 pounds, and the width is 34 inches with a deck height of 15.5 inches. So let's go ahead and slide this up and we'll look at the whole design of both of these kayaks side by side, because there's a big difference in the whole design that I noticed on the water and from looking at it. It may not look very different here, but you will see that the bow on the 120 actually is a little more upswept than the 140. So this does a couple things. One, it's going to actually probably part the waves quite a bit better. So if you're paddling into waves, it's not going to be coming over the bow like it was on the 140. And the second thing is it's going to offer a better rocker chine. This is going to allow for quicker response when turning, smaller turn radius, and just overall better performance. So I was pretty excited about that, and you'll see later on how much quicker that this 120 actually turns and reacts than the 140 did. So the 120 has a length of 12 feet 3 inches, a width of 35 inches, a deck height of 16 inches, so that's 1 inch wider and a ½ inch taller than the 140. It has a weight of 70 pounds, that's 25 pounds lighter than the 140, and a capacity of 400 pounds, so you're only losing 150 pound capacity. Pretty outstanding numbers for such a smaller boat. And I think you're going to see later how stable this thing really is. I actually think it's more stable than the 140. So let's pull back the 140 up and we will compare the decks next to each other. All right, let's start at the stern here. So first thing you're going to notice is the stern of the 120 is quite a bit more blunt. It's flat at the back and it's a lot wider. And you'll see these two little plate marks here. These two marks are for your power pole micro anchors. You can actually put 2 on here. Well, actually you could put 3. There's room for 2 of them here and 1 here on this flat spot. And the reason they put them on the side like that is so that you're not blocking any place for a rudder. There's actually a slot here for a rudder to go in there, which is nice. So you can choose 1, the other, or 2, or 3, and just go hog wild with power poles. So the next thing you'll notice on the 120 is there is no rod locker here. The rod locker has been removed obviously they had to lose some space somewhere, and that's one spot they chose to do that. So they removed the rod locker. You still got your gear tracks here. The tank well actually gets elongated a little bit. You get a little bit more room with this new tank well on the 120. And you'll see there's a Orbix hatch here. And that's actually got a bag inside of it for dry storage. I'll show you that here. Okay, so moving forward in the boat, like I said, there is a newer, wider platform here right behind the seat that can receive a powerful micro anchor, which is pretty sweet. The pole actually would just go through one of these two scuppers here. So still moving forward, we've got the same seat. I know it looks different in this rendering here, but it's the same seat. It's the Air Pro Max seat, which everybody loves. It's got a low and high position in it. Adjustable seat. You can move it forward or back. You can adjust the back on it. Something that is new with the 120 and actually the new 140 as well is that they have changed the way that the gear track works on this and the way the gear track is actually designed. So we've got now a quick release, and I'll show you that here. So you can actually quick release it or put it back in place if you want to move forward and back throughout the day. And you can actually slide this seat back off of the track on the back and set it upright, just like you see here. And so that gives you a ton of room. I mean, you can just run all over the place on this thing if you're standing. So move forward here to the cockpit. Nothing real different here. I mean, you can see it looks pretty much the same. Same dimensions, same size, same everything. The one big difference is in the 120, and I believe the new 140s are also going to have this. I haven't confirmed that, but there is actually a transducer, a through-hole transducer in this first gear pocket here. So that does give you the option to put in a Helix motor drive with your transducer in the secondary transducer hole. So that is pretty sweet if you're going to be running a Helix motor drive in your kayak. So forward from there, we've got the hatch. It's got the same paddle keeper on the front. It's got the same lockdown system. It is a little bit smaller. Obviously, again, they had to lose 2 feet in this boat, so a little bit of that went away. But I put the life jacket in there just to see how it would fit, and it fits well. It's going to hold plenty of gear for the day if you need to. And finally, we get to the front of the boat, and there's actually an insert molded into this one for an anchor lead. Which is kind of cool. I guess there's some new anchoring techniques that you can do with this boat. I'm not very familiar with those, so I'm not going to talk about them, but I did notice that there was a little different nose on this boat. So let's get it out on the water. Alright, so immediately this boat is so much easier to launch, so much quicker to get up to full speed, so much easier to turn. I mean, it's incredible how much more responsive this 120 is over the 140, and I like the 140, but man, this is going to be a great boat for smaller water, or for anybody that needs to navigate a little bit more easier. So one thing I've noticed about the 140 is, see this water in the back of the hatch here? That happens in the 140 and the 120, and it's probably because I'm a big guy, but see how wet that boat is inside? The water kind of comes through. Here I'm just testing the stability, rocking back and forth. I wasn't shaking, I was testing it. But yeah, the back hatch tends to get everything wet. So I put the scuppers in there, but then you got the low side, so the wind pushes water over the side. It's not a huge issue. I mean, we're kayaking, we're expecting things to get wet. And I live in Oregon, so obviously we are used to the rain. So here I'm standing up. It's real easy to stand up, and you can see the floor space there. I had no problem paddling, looking behind me. You just stand up in this thing and you feel comfortable. So I even felt so comfortable I started just paddling quickly in a crouched position. Kind of like those stand-up guys do, and it goes pretty quickly standing up, and I didn't feel any shake, any uneasiness, nothing. Pretty sweet boat to stand up in. So backing up here, it was really quick to back up. You know, there's not a lot of inertia with this boat. It is 25 pounds lighter. That is one thing in the 140. If you come tearing into a hole, it takes a good deal of time to get stopped and to go backwards and change direction. This boat doesn't feel that way at all. It feels a lot more agile when compared to the 140. So here I just kind of paddled and then saw how quickly I could stop. And you'll see here, as soon as I get to this tree, I try and stop, and it takes me 2 paddle strokes to stop. I mean, I do 2 more after that for just to kind of square up, but look. 1, 2, stopped. That's it. You know, in the 140, probably take 5 or 6, and you know, I'd be going off to one side. This boat really is a lot more maneuverable. So that's the on the water testing. Obviously, I didn't want to spend a ton of time out there. I was getting poured on. But yeah, the A.T.A.K 120. This is a great new boat, you guys. If you like the 140 but needed a little more maneuverability, go check out the 120. They've got them at Next Adventure right now. I'll put the address and the logo on the screen here. The retail price for the 120 is $1,649. And retail for the 140 is $1,799. So I hope you enjoyed this review. Please comment below if you have any questions. And as always, thanks for watching, and we'll see you next time.